Last night, news broke that Drake had withdrew his legal petition against Spotify and UMG, accusing them of inflating Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. And two very separate interpretations of this documentation have come out, and I'm gonna break them down for you here, and then you can tell me which one you believe. Side number one believes that Drake won. They believe that this was withdrawn because agreements had been made outside of court, and UMG and Spotify settled for an undisclosed amount. People were quick to point out that the documentation stated that the case was withdrawn with no cost to the court. People thought that this meant that no settlement was made, but in actuality, this just means that the party withdrawing the case is not responsible for paying the cost of the other parties involved. So if anything, Drake withdrew it, therefore he would not need to pay for the lawyers of UMG or Spotify. But at the same time, that also means he has to pay for his own lawyers, where if he had won something like this, UMG and Spotify would have been on the line for that payment. Another thing to note about this side saying that he won or he's going to be paid a lot of money is that there is no mention of a settlement, there is no mention of monetary gain by either party, and I believe there's probably some sort of gag order or something of the sort, so us fans will probably really never know what happened behind closed doors. On top of that, many who believe that he won seem to be skipping over the fact that leaked DMs showed that Drake was in this for the quote-unquote smaller artists against the quote-unquote machine. And although this is something that was pushed out by his fans predominantly, there is proof that he did mention that in the leaked DMs, if you believe these DMs are true. The other interpretation of this documentation is that Drake lost. People are thinking that Drake withdrew this petition because he did not have enough evidence to prove this against UMG and Spotify. And a major point for this argument is that in the documentation that was released, it says that UMG, which has not yet filed an opposition, reserves the right to do so. So when Drake withdrew this, he had to tell the court that he was doing so and why. And while Spotify said, yep, that's cool, UMG said, no, we still stand behind what we said and we reserve the right to come back and sue you too. It's also important to note that what Drake filed was just a petition asking Spotify and UMG to provide backlogs and information. So withdrawing this is not a settlement, it's not a lawsuit of any sort. We simply don't know what has happened. Some are also speculating that if Drake truly won, why has Spotify and UMG not come out with some sort of public apology? This was a very public case that leaned very highly on a public rap beef. So people are saying if Drake really was right, more of this information, more of this damning information about bots and increased views and sales should and would have come out. I personally think it's too early to speculate either way because we simply just do not have